it's Mrs. Hope. I'm so happy to see you. Welcome to Lessons from My Living Room. I'm so excited to keep teaching math, even though we're doing it a little differently. This lesson is going to be about multiplying fractions, whole numbers, and mixed numbers. Today, we'll be reviewing just how to work out the math problems so that we're able to do the math problems when we come across them in real-world problems, which will be the focus of the next lesson. So, our objective for today goes along with NF6, which has to do with multiplying fractions in real-world problems. So our objective today is that we can use equations that involve multiplying fractions, whole numbers, and mixed numbers. We'll also be making sure that we're writing our answers in simplest form by reducing or simplifying when we need to. So, the first type of problem that I would like to look at today is when we're multiplying a fraction by a fraction. So, our first example is 1/2 times 3/4. Now, I'd like to let you guys know that this video is going to take the place of what lesson I would do if we were in school. So please feel free to have your math notebook, a piece of paper, whiteboard, whatever you have at home in order to take notes with me, follow along, or just review the video as you need. These types of questions will be on the practice page so that you'll have a chance to practice them on your own after watching this. All right, let's get started. The most fastest way that you can multiply any two fractions is what I like to call the hamburger method. I call it that because I make the top bun of my burger by combining my top numbers and the bottom bun of my burger by circling the bottom numbers. When we multiply fractions, we multiply our top numbers together. So 1 times 3, which is 3. And then we multiply our bottom numbers together. 2 times 4, which is 8. Once I have my answer, I ask myself the magical fraction question. Is it okay? Well, let's see. It is. And I know that it's okay because it meets two criteria. The first one is it's a proper fraction, not an improper fraction. So we're good there. The second thing is that there is not a common factor for the top number and the bottom number. The numerator and denominator do not share a common factor, so that means this is the simplest this answer can get. So this is the correct answer. Now, I have to say, most of the multiplication problems that we come across are not going to be this simple. There will be some reducing necessary in order to get our answer in simplest form. So there's two ways that we can do this. The first way, let's look at this example, is if I have 3/4 and I'm multiplying it by 4/9. I can do what I did before, the hamburger, my top bun, and my bottom bun. 3 times 4 is 12. 4 times 9 is 36. And that's my answer. But of course, I ask myself, is it okay? And it's not. It's a proper fraction, which is good, but I know that 12 and 36 have a common factor. And I know for sure 100% that they share the factor 2 because they are both even numbers. So you can start with what you know. If you know that they both share a factor of 2, start with that. You can also use the strategy that we've learned previously, where we make the F's for the factors, and we list out the factors of our two numbers. Whoops. And then we look for the largest number in both F's. So factors of 12, I'm going to start with what I know, 1 and 12. The next number after 1 is 2. 2 times 6 is 12. The next number after 2 is 3. 3 times 4 is 12. And since my next number would be 4 and it's already in my F, those are all of my factors. Let's do the same thing for 36. For 36, I know that I have 1 and 36. I have 2 and 18. 3 and 12. 4 and 9. and 6 and 6. And remember, doubles means we're done. So these are all the factors of 36. So now I'm looking for the largest number in both, and I see that it is 12. So my greatest common factor is 12. Going back to my problem, my answer was 12 over 36. So to simplify that, or to reduce it, I'm going to divide by 12 on the top and 12 on the bottom. When I do that, I have 12 divided by 12, which equals 1, and 36 divided by 12, which equals 3. So that's one way to do it. It is a little difficult, I think, because once you get the bigger numbers in the answer and the product, then it's a little bit hard to figure out the greatest common factor. So you can use smaller numbers. You'll just have to keep dividing until you get to numbers that don't share a common factor. There's another way to do this, and I think it's much simpler. It's the way that I prefer to do it when I'm multiplying fractions on my own. So let's look at that problem again. If I have 3/4 and I'm multiplying it by 4/9, I can do something which is called cross-canceling. And a lot of you think of this as the butterfly method, but it's really called cross-canceling. And to do that, I'm going to look at the numbers across from each other. Hence the name, cross-canceling. So if I look at the numbers across from each other, I see that I have a 3 and a 9. So I'm going to think, what's a factor that 3 and 9 share? It's 3, right? Because I can divide 3 into 3. 3 divided by 3 is 1. And I can divide 9 into 3 because 9 divided by 3 is 3. I'm going to move my equal sign over just a tad. There we go. So I'm now going to look at the other numbers across from each other. These numbers are the same, 4 and 4. So they share 4 as a common factor. So if I divide 4 by 4, I have 1. And if I divide this 4 by 4, I also have 1. So now when I multiply, I have much smaller numbers to multiply, and it really makes the chance of me needing to reduce my product much smaller. So let's see. 1 times 1, that would be my top bun. And 1 times 3, which would be my bottom bun. 1 times 1 is 1. 1 times 3 is 3, 1/3. So as you can see, we got the same answer as before, but it was done, I think, in an easier way. Choose whichever one works best for you. No worries. I just want you to be able to get your answer in simplest form. All right. So you may see fraction times fractions. You may also see fractions times whole numbers. For example, I may have the fraction 4/5, and I may multiply that by 2. Well, since we already know how to multiply fractions by fractions, I'm going to make this into a fraction by fraction problem. So 4/5, that's a fraction. 2, not a fraction. But can I make it a fraction? Yes, I can. Remember, we can make any whole number into a fraction by putting the fraction bar underneath and a 1. Remember that this really represents division. So if I have 2 and I divide it by 1, my answer is 2. We'll be talking more about this division process later this week, so look forward to that. All right, now that I have made this into a fraction, I now follow the same process that I did for the other fractions. So I can multiply my top ones, multiply my bottom ones, and then I get an answer. I may have to simplify. So I'm going to use the cross-canceling method this time to see if I can cross-cancel. Let's see, if I look at these two together, 4 and 1, the only factor they share is 1. That does nothing. So I'm not going to cross-cancel these. Let me look here. If I look at these, I have 2 and 5. They're both prime numbers. No common factors. So I'm going to not cross-cancel. In this case, it is easiest just to multiply the tops and multiply the bottoms. So 4 times 2 gives me 8, and 5 times 1 gives me 5. So here's my answer. And I ask myself the magical fraction question. Is it okay? Well, it's improper, right? It's so rude because the top number is bigger than the bottom number. Hopefully you remember that when that happens, you have to change it to a mixed number, and you do that by dividing. Good job. So I'm going to divide 5 into 8. So I'm going to ask myself, how many whole times does 5 go into 8? 1 time. That goes on top. That's my quotient. 5 times 1 is 5. And I subtract and I have a remainder of 3. So remember, when we have our remainder and our quotient, we can use that to write our mixed number. So I'm going to write this as 1 whole, and 3 is my top number, and my bottom number stays the same. So the answer to this is 1 3/5. And I ask myself, is it okay? It's a mixed number. We're good. And 3 and 5 do not share a common factor, so that's the correct answer. Okay, great. Let's look at another one like that. If I have 7/12 and I'm multiplying it by 4, I want to be able to multiply a fraction by a fraction. So I'm going to make 4 into a fraction. Do you remember what to do? That's right, fraction bar and a 1. Good job. So now I'm going to look at cross-canceling again. So if I look here, I see 7 and 1. They only share 1. That's not helpful. So I can't cross-cancel them. If I look here, I have 4 and 12. 4 and 12 have a common factor. It's 4. So, excuse me. So I'm going to divide this 4 by 4. 4 divided by 4 is 1. And then I'm going to divide this 12 by 4. 12 divided by 4 is 3. So now I'm going to multiply my tops, and I'm going to multiply my bottoms, and I end up with 7 times 1, 7. 3 times 1, 3. 7/3. So I ask myself the question, is it okay? It's rude again, improper fraction. So I'm going to divide. 3 goes into 7. 2 whole times. 2 times 3 is 6. I have 2, remainder 1. And we're going to change that into our mixed number, which is 2 and 1/3. That's my answer. And I know it's okay because there are no common factors here and it's not improper. All right. Next situation that you may come across is when you're multiplying a fraction by a mixed number. So let's look at a problem like that. If I have 2 wholes and 1/4, that's my mixed number, and I'm going to multiply that by a fraction, 3/7. Well, I know how to multiply a fraction by a fraction, so that's what I want to do. And in order to do that, I need to take this mixed number and change it into an improper fraction. Hopefully you remember how to do that. But just in case, let's review. We multiply the denominator and the whole number. So 4 times 2, that gives us 8. Then we add that 8 to the top number, which is 1, which gives us 9. That's our new top number. Our bottom number stays the same. There we have it. We've gone from our mixed number to an improper fraction. So now if I bring down the rest of the problem, you will see that it's exactly like what we had in the beginning. We have 2 fractions to multiply. I'm going to look really quick. Can I cross cancel? Nope. Can I cross cancel? Nope. So I'm just going to multiply across tops and bottoms. 9 times 3 is 27. 4 times 7 is 28. I'm going to ask myself, is that okay? It's proper. No common factors. That's the answer. Excellent. All right. So, what if we have a mixed number and we want to multiply that mixed number by a whole number, such as 2 and 1/10, and I'm multiplying that by 3. Well, remember, we want to have a fraction by a fraction. So, I have to change this first to an improper fraction. 10 times 2 is 20. 20 plus 1, 21 over 10 is my improper fraction. Then I'm going to take the 3 and make it into a fraction by putting the 1 underneath, just like I did before. So now I'm going to quickly look to see if I can cross cancel. 21 and 1, nope. 3 and 10, nope. So I multiply across. Remember, you can multiply using any strategy that you want. I like to do partial products. 3 times 20, 60. 3 times 1, 3. 60 plus 3, 63 over 10, because 10 times 1 is 10. So I ask myself, is that an okay answer? Nope, it's an improper fraction. I'm going to work up here. I have a little more room, and I'm going to divide 10 into 63. And I know that 10 will go into 60 6 whole times. 63 6 whole times. And when I subtract, I have a remainder of 3. So I'm going to make that into my mixed number of 6 wholes and 3 over 10. That is my answer because it is a mixed number and there are no common factors. All right. One other type of problem I'd like to look at before we wrap this up. What happens if you have a mixed number multiplied by another mixed number? Well, pretty much nothing new. It's the same as what we've done. So if I've got 4 and 1/3 and I'm multiplying that by 2 and 4/5, I have to change these mixed numbers into improper fractions like I've been doing. So 3 times 4 is 12, plus 1 is 13. 13 over 3. Then I'm going to multiply by this mixed number. 5 times 2 is 10. 10 plus 4 is 14. So I end up with 14 over 5. Now I'm going to look to see if I can cross cancel. 13 and 5, nope. 3 and 14, nope. Wow, I've got to multiply some big numbers. I'm going to do that down here. I'm going to take 14 and I'm going to multiply it by 10. And then I'm going to take 14 and I'm going to multiply that by 3. So put my 0 in the answer. 14 times 1 is 14. Over here, I can break this down further if I need to into 10 times 3 and 4 times 3. So put my 0. 3 times 1 is 3. And 3 times 4 is 12. 30 plus 12 is 42. I would add these two together. 140 plus 42. And that will give me my answer. 182. So I'm going to end up with 182 on top and 15 on the bottom. Phew. And the thing is, this isn't even an okay answer. It's an improper fraction. So I would need to divide in order to figure out what that mixed number will be. So let's divide 15 into 182. All right, so I know that 15 can go into 18 one whole time. And I know that 15 can go into 32 two times because 2 times 15 is 30. So my answer will be 12 remainder 2. So my answer will be 12 wholes and 2 over 15. That's a good answer because it is a mixed number and there are no common factors between 2 and 15. Great. I'd like you to try some of these different problems in the practice page. There are 10 questions, varying differences in the terms that you have to multiply, but make them all into fractions and you should be good to go. Remember, if you have any questions or get stuck, meet up with me during our Zoom times or message me through my email or Google Hangouts. All right, guys, I look forward to the next lesson. I hope you all are doing well. Stay safe. Bye-bye.